So you can start however it feels best, especially too if laying on your back doesn't feel good. I'm gonna keep my legs bent because that feels best for me, but you're more than welcome to maybe extend one leg, extend both legs, and even find like a tree position and bring the sole of one foot in. We'll kind of allow the shoulder blades to come underneath you, maybe arms go off to the side, palms face up, may help you feel a little more open. Palms face down, whether it's on the ground or maybe on the belly, might help you feel a little more grounded. So find what feels best for you. Maybe open and close the mouth. Draw the shoulder blades underneath you, finding a little more space between the shoulders and the ears. And just kind of take it all in. Let yourself arrive. Maybe check in with your external world, taking in any sounds, noise, movements, even any smells. And allowing them to be in the background. And then if you would like to, you can always explore your internal state. Maybe seeing what the breath feels like, maybe seeing how your body feels, maybe relaxing the body a little bit more, but just taking time to check in. Sometimes we kind of live in a very stressful state, and that can be the norm. So kind of taking time to maybe peel back some of those layers and to relax a little bit, to reset. So see if you can allow the muscles to soften, allow the ground to support you. And just taking some time to explore the breath. And if being with the breath, it doesn't feel right, know that you don't have to do it. The goal is to breathe. And then you can stay here with your natural rhythm, natural pace, or option 2, extend the breath. So as you inhale, maybe fill up for a 2, 3, 4 count. And then as you exhale, see if you can extend, soften for maybe a 3, 4, 5, or even a 6 count. And you don't even have to count the breath if that doesn't feel right. Maybe just focus on expanding the lungs and then relaxing the lungs, kind of exploring this ebb and flow, this expanding, contracting, and then relaxing. And take one more breath, maybe a full inhale, slow exhale. And then let your breath come back to your rhythm, your pace, maybe in and out through the nose. And then always an option to set a focal point or an intention for your practice. The focal point could always be the breath, reconnecting with the breath whenever the mind wanders off, whenever maybe the mind wants to give up. Or maybe there's a word, a phrase that serves your practice this morning. And if nothing comes to mind, I offer up the word of awareness. For the next 60 minutes, can you be fully aware of your thoughts, of your movements, and use that awareness to maybe adjust, to maybe let go, right? Seeing if the thoughts, the movements are harming us. And if so, can we change the thought pattern? Can we change the movement pattern to maybe bring us more joy? So if you have a focal point, an intention, maybe hold it at your third eye, the space between the eyebrows. This is your third eye chakra, Anya, this place of inner wisdom where your inner teacher is. So coming back to this place whenever you need to, whenever you may need to reset. And then we'll seal it in with a nice round of breath together. So deep inhale into the nose, filling up with your intention, your focal point, maybe filling up with the breath, awareness. And then slow and steady, open mouth, exhale, let it go. One more deep inhale, fill the belly, the chest. Maybe hold the breath at the top. And then slow and steady, open mouth, exhale, let it go. And then let your breath come back to your rhythm, your pace. And then you can stay here for as long as you like. Know that you can come back to rest at any point. But when you are ready, slowly start to reawaken. Maybe wiggle the fingers, the toes. You can roll the ankles, the wrists. And then maybe start to make the movements a little bit bigger, extend the legs long, maybe you point the toes, arms to the side, maybe to the ceiling, or extend overhead, take a full body stretch, wiggle it out. And then you can start to bend the legs, feet can come to the ground, and just kind of explore some movements, maybe sway the knees side to side to see how the hips feel. And then you can stay here, or maybe pull the knees to the chest. You can grab for the shins, the thighs, and same thing. Just start to explore some intuitive, organic movements. Go one way, go the other. And then go ahead, place your feet flat on the ground. So feet are about hip width distance, and then arms will come off to the side by the hips. So let's kind of say hi to the shoulders. As you inhale, start to reach your fingertips to the ceiling. Stay here, or maybe exhale, start to extend or reach the arms overhead. So inhale, reach to the ceiling, and then exhale, gently come back down. So feel free to go at your own pace, starting to really move with the breath here, finding that nice moving meditation, but also exploring the shoulders, working them, but also starting to create some space in the shoulder joints. And two, as you start to reach the arms overhead, see if you start to move in the low back. So maybe there's some tightness in the shoulders. And so the low back will kind of compensate, will arch to help you extend the arms overhead. So maybe you adjust the next round, use that awareness to not go overhead as high and keep your low back more neutral, more supportive. Last one. Good, awesome job. And then go ahead, bring your arms off to the side like a T. Palms can face the ceiling. And then we'll bring the hands together out in front of us, big inhale. And then as you exhale, open up back to your T. So once again, moving with the breath, saying hi to the shoulders, but also kind of exploring your scapulas, your shoulder blades. Good, two more. Good, awesome job. Now we're going to take it to the left side. So coming into fetal position, rolling to the left. And then we're going to stack the hips. Don't worry about the knees being stacked, but kind of think of the hips being on top of each other, and then arms off to the side. You can place your head on a pillow or blanket, or maybe you rest it on the ground. And then as you inhale, reach your right fingertips, so the top arm to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, maybe you twist, starting to open up. So inhale back to the ceiling, exhale, gently coming back down. Inhale to the ceiling, exhale, open up. And so once again, go at your own pace. And also too, only go as far as needed, right? Be honest with yourself this morning. No need to force it. No need to hurt ourselves. And kind of focusing on twisting in your thoracic cavity, the ribs, your mid-spine. And then option to stick with the twist, or maybe you find stillness. So kind of opening up to the right. Know that your right shoulder is not going to touch the ground, so no need to force it, but maybe you create a little bit of space. Think of your left shoulder kind of reaching to the left side to make a little more room for the right. And I like to hold onto the wall, but also maybe think about reaching my right armpit to the ground as I keep my knees drawing to the left. See if you're kind of flaring the front ribs. Try not to compress the low back. And then lastly, maybe stretch out the neck, chin can fall to the right. Take an inhale. Maybe you twist with the exhale. Good, and then slowly reach the right arm back to the ceiling, and then slowly come back down to the left side. Good. Now, before we come onto our back and do some core work and then do the other side, we're going to take clamshell. So your bottom arm, this is my left arm. I'm going to use it to kind of rest my head there. And I'm going to keep my feet together. Hips are stacked. And I'm going to lift the top knee. So this is my right knee. So as I inhale, lift the right knee. And then exhale, come back down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come back down. So working some hip rotation, but also kind of firing up the glutes, the outer thigh muscles. And anytime we lift the leg, know that you don't have to lift high. Just find a spot that feels good. You don't have to force it. Last 4. Keep breathing. Good, maybe 2 more. Take rest when needed. Last 1. Ooh, good, awesome job. Now, roll back onto the back. And then you can bring the knees to the chest, kind of give your low back some love, open and close the mouth, reset. And we'll do a little bit of core work and then we'll balance it out on the other side. So coming into like an ab prep position, feet are gonna be flat on the ground. And first, let's do some pelvic tilts. So if you want, you can always grab your pelvis, but just gently rock your pelvis forward and back. You don't have to go far here. Sometimes I feel like when I start to rock my pelvis forward, I can go too far and really compress the low back. So just explore some gentle movements of the pelvis. And then find your neutral position, so you're not arching the low back or smashing your low back into the ground. And then maybe let the hands rest on the belly, or arms can go off to the side by the hips. And then we'll take our imprint position. So think of your bottom 2 ribs and your pelvis pulling to the belly button, starting to engage your core muscles, starting to engage your pelvic floor muscles, this whole cylinder. So take a breath, deep inhale. As you exhale, maybe take it out through the mouth. Pull your front ribs, your pelvis to the belly, hold for the inhale. And then exhale, relax, soften, reset. So a couple more, big inhale. As you exhale, imprint, maybe blow out of the straw. Pull your low back round down, feel your core muscles engaged, and then exhale, release. Let's take 3 more. Inhale, breath. Exhale, imprint. Hold for the inhale, feel your strong core, and then exhale, release, soften. Inhale, breath. Exhale, imprint. Hug everything to the belly, bottom ribs, pelvis, pull in, hold for the inhale, exhale, release. Good, last one, big inhale. Exhale, imprint. Feel your core engaged, low back supported, hold for the inhale, exhale, release. Good, awesome job. Now hip roll. So kind of think of like rolling up into shoulder bridge and then rolling back down to the ground. Arms off to the side. Heels drive down as you inhale, roll your pelvis, low back, mid back off the ground. And then as you exhale, roll onto the mid back, low back onto the pelvis. So here we go. Inhale, roll yourself up. Exhale, roll yourself back down. Good, maybe 1, 2 more, just gently rolling up and down off the ground, being aware of each body part that hits the mats and then that lifts off the mat. Good, awesome work. All right, roll into the right. So I'm gonna face you all, but feel free to roll to the opposite side, and we'll start with our spinal twist or rotation. So think about stacking the hips, arms will come out in front of you, head is resting on the ground. And then as you inhale, reach the top arm, for me, the left arm to the ceiling, and then exhale, maybe explore the rotation, twisting to the left. Inhale, reach back up, exhale, come back down. Inhale, lift, exhale, twist, inhale, lift, exhale, back down. So feel free to go at your own pace. And just kind of seeing how this feels in the spine. Twisting is really beneficial for helping us lengthen the spine and finding that neutral anatomical position. Maybe 1 more. Now you can stick with the movement or option to hold your supine twists. So gently letting the left arm roll to the left side. Maybe you lift the right shoulder, making a little more room for the left, but keeping the hips stacked, and then exploring pulling in opposite directions or letting gravity pull you in opposite directions. Knees draw right, ribs draw left. Keeping your core still engaged, front ribs pull in. And then lastly, if it does feel good, maybe chin falls to the left, stretching out your neck, the top of your spine, your cervical spine. 1 more inhale, soften for the exhale. And then take your time, slowly inhale, come back up, and then exhale, rolling back onto the side, using your bottom arm, for me, my right arm as a pillow, and then hips are stacked, feet will stay together, clamshell. As you inhale, open up, send your top knee to the ceiling, exhale, come back down. Inhale, open, exhale, come back down. So we're rotating our top hip more externally. So you're going to feel this action come from the hip joints, right? So the knee is stable, the ankle is stable, and exploring using our glute muscles to lift that leg. Last 4, as many as you got, no judgments. 3, inhale for 2. Good, last 1. Beautiful work, awesome job, release. And then once again, roll onto your back. Doesn't matter where you're at. Maybe you send the knees to the chest or kind of rock side to side, reset here. Now we're gonna start to add on to our core work, okay? So make sure you're in neutral position, legs are bent. And now arms will come off to the side. So ab prep, we're gonna start to lift the head and the shoulder blades off the ground. Make sure the head is supported. You can always place your Pilates ball or maybe rollable blanket and place it underneath the head if needed. All right, so here we go. Take an inhale. As you exhale, ab prep, reach your fingertips to the heels, finding imprint, hugging it in, little tuck of the chin, hold for the inhale, and then exhale, come back down. So here we go. Inhale, breath, exhale, ab prep. You can blow out of a straw, and then exhale, release. Inhale, breath, soften. Exhale, ab prep, reach for the heels. Hold for the inhale, strong core. Exhale, release. Maybe 4 more. Inhale. Exhale, reach. Hold for the inhale, strong belly, low back is grounded. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale, reach. Little tuck at the chin. Exhale, release. Good. Last 1. Big inhale. Exhale, release. Now maybe you add hundreds. You're going to pump the arms. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the breath is little. So it'd be an inhale and then an exhale. Last 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Big inhale, reach. Good. Exhale, release. Woo. Awesome job. Hip rolls. So draw the heels down, roll your glutes, low back, mid back, and then roll back onto mid back, low back glutes. Awesome work. Kind of reset, let the head relax. Beautiful work. Last 1, maybe you hold at the top, kind of breathe into the front body, and then exhale, slowly come back down. Good, awesome job. Knees can come to the chest, gently rock side to side. Now finding wind removing pose. So keep your right leg hugged in, the left leg can go long. So gently draw the right knee towards you, find some compression on the right hip flexor as you maybe lengthen out the left hip flexor. So very similar to our single leg stretch position, but kind of more passive, more relaxed. In yoga, it's called wind removing pose. And then draw the left leg to meet the right, give yourself a squeeze, shell position. And then other side, extend the right leg long, left knee pulls in, maybe kind of sway the knee a little bit, roll the ankle. And then draw the right leg back in, big squeeze. Good, and then we're gonna come into tabletop position. So roll to one side, gently press yourself up, meeting on all 4s. So if you want to, feel free to grab a blanket, maybe place it underneath the knees. And remember, you can always be on the hands, or if the wrists need a break at any point throughout class, maybe you come onto the forearms, all right? But wherever you're at, explore some intuitive, organic movements. Maybe sway the hips side to side, maybe take some circle shapes in the hips, go one way, go the other. And then option 2, explore cat-cow. So as you inhale, feel the pelvis gently rock forward, a little lift from the heart, maybe chin starts to lift, open up the throats. And then as you exhale, coming into your cat back, round the spine, press the ground away, ears can come in line with the biceps. So option to move with the breath. Inhale into cow, opening up the front body. Exhale into cat, opening up the back body. So take 3, 4, maybe 5 more rounds on your own. Maybe even close the eyes, be very aware of your movements. Maybe start to add some movements with it, kind of circle forward and back, whatever feels right. Just trying to be very aware of the pelvis, the spine. Good, now let's find neutral. So your pelvis, a bowl of water. Try not to drop the water to the ground and arch the back, but also try not to kind of splash the water to the ceiling. All right, so try to keep the pelvis in line with the ribs. Gently draw your front ribs in, and then bring awareness to your shoulder blades, your scapulas. Try to keep them flat on the back body. So you're not rounding the upper back, but you're also not dropping into the shoulders as well. Maybe you add a little lift from the armpits to feel your shoulder blades kind of feel stable on the back body. Now, anytime we're on the hands, gently spread the fingers. Think of like bear claws. You're going to grip your fingertips and the knuckles that are on the palm and the heel of the hand into the ground. So very active hands. We're not relaxed like this. Gently spread the fingers and grip or smush your hands into the mat to kind of lift out of the wrist. So you're trying to use your strong core, your shoulders to hold you here instead of letting the weight sit in the wrist joints. Not easy to do though. So as best you can, try to engage the shoulders, the core to help lift you up. And then take a breath here. Save for the exhale. Now, option for down dog. So feel free to tuck your toes under. Start to send the hips high. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Maybe you need to walk the hands forward, back. Maybe you need to adjust the feet. But just kind of explore this inverted position, kind of creating a triangle shape in the body. You can bend one leg, bend the other, maybe sway the hips a little bit, shake the head yes, shake it no. But remember, gravity, your body weight is pulling you down to the ground. So think about lifting up out of the hands. You can even think about lifting from your inner arms, the bicep area, to the ceiling to feel your chest, your shoulders, your strong arms start to turn on to kind of hold your weight. Now, see if you're flaring your front ribs, draw the front ribs in. Maybe you need to keep a bend in the knees to have your pelvis come forward a little bit to lengthen out the low back. Heels will draw down, but the heels do not have to touch. Take a breath. Soften as you exhale. Good, now take your time. Walk your hands and your feet together. Doesn't matter where on your mat. We'll find our first standing forward fold, ragdoll. Feet can be hip width, maybe wider, but bend the knees, allow your weight to shift forward to the toes, and then maybe you cross your arms at elbows, gently sway side to side. You can even find a chest expansion grip, interlace the fingers overhead. But let all the expectations, maybe some stress you're holding on to, kind of melt off the body here. And then any grip you have, release it, and then take your time. We've been upside down for a bit, so let your blood pressure reset. Kind of roll yourself up, arms, head, nice and heavy. Woo. And then once you reach the top, maybe kind of roll the shoulders out, go one way, go the other. Maybe kind of roll the head and the neck. Good, awesome job. Now, come to the top of your mat, wherever that may be, or the top of your space, where your blocks, your chair, anything you have to use might be available. All right, so we're gonna move into some sun salutations, a very gentle moving meditation, kind of, just adding some flexion, extension of the spine and kind of warming up a little bit more. So starting in Tadasana, mountain pose. So your feet are gonna be underneath the inner hips. So think of those pointy hip bones, your knees and your ankles all in a line. And then maybe you kind of rock forward and back, even out the weight between the top of the foot and the back. And then a little lift from your inner arches of the feet, feel your legs turn on, and then bring awareness to your pelvis, that bowl. Try not to tip it forward and arch. Try not to scoop it underneath you and slouch. So keep your water, your energy right in the bowl. Shoulder heads slide or roll down the spine, a little lift from the crown of the head. Trying to keep the core muscles engaged slightly to help you lift up. Take a breath. Soften as you exhale. Good, now inhale, extended mountain pose. Arms can reach forward or maybe overhead. Try to keep the front ribs pulling in, just like you did on your back. Big inhale. Now as you exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Hands can come through heart center. Flat back, come all the way down to the ground. And then inhale, halfway lift. Palms can come to your shins or the thighs. They can come to blocks or even to the seats of a chair, okay? I want you to think of your neutral spine here. So this is some core work. Think about hugging your ribs in, kind of wearing a corset. Shoulder blades down the spine and then gaze to the toes. So crown of the head reaches forward, tailbone presses back. Core muscles engage, back body lengthening. Take a breath, big inhale. And then as you exhale, forward fold, release, let it go. Now coming back up to extended mountain pose, keep a bend in the knees. Inhale, rise, extend it to Tadasana. And then exhale, hands can come to the heart, Samasthiti, or back to the side, standing at attention. So variation of sun A, kind of like a half sun salutation. We'll flow through that one more time and then we'll start to add on. Feel free to go at your own pace. Here we go, big inhale, rise, extend it to Tadasana, reaching forward or overhead, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees, ride your breath down to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to your shins, the blocks or the chair, front ribs in. Exhale, forward fold, release. Keep a bend in the knees, strong core. Inhale, rise, extended mountain pose. And then exhale, hands to heart, Samasthiti. And take a breath, deep inhale, slow exhale. Good, adding on. Inhale, rise, extended mountain pose, reaching forward or overhead, front ribs in. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees, take it down to the ground. Inhale to your halfway lift, long spine. Now this time, option for high plank. So plant the palms, walk or step your feet back. So right away, option to come onto the knees, finding a kneeling plank. But I want you to think of imprint position here. So just like you did on the ground, can you think about pulling your pelvis to the ribs as you pull your ribs to the pelvis? You can even think about pulling your hands and your knees together. Little lift from the armpits, making sure you're not arching the low back. Last inhale. And then as you exhale, bend the elbows, come all the way down to the ground. So cobra pose in Pilates breaststroke prep 1. So hands can be underneath the shoulders, elbows can be lift, that's gonna be more cobra. Or maybe the hands slide forward and the forearms are flat on the mat, that'd be more breaststroke prep 1, okay? So your choice, but the alignment is the same. Keep your feet pressing down, knees lift, inner thighs squeeze in, outer hips roll down. And then when you're ready, slowly start to lift the chest. You could use the inhale or the exhale. Feel what is best for you. Shoulder blades down the spine. Take an inhale breath. And then exhale, lower down. Good. Maybe 2 more. Inhale, cobra, Bhujangasana. Little lift of the chest. Inner thighs squeeze in. Exhale, slowly lower down. So we're not using the hands to lift up, just a little lift using our back muscles. Inhale, rise, squeezing the glutes, cobra, Bhujangasana. Exhale, lower. Good. Now we're going to press back up to our plank position. So tuck your toes under, use the knees, slowly pressing up, big inhale breath, and then exhale, down dog, hips go high, Adho Mukha. Reset here, maybe shake the head yes, shake it no. Awesome work. Last inhale. And then you are more than welcome to stay here or child's pose, Balasana. Big toes to touch, knees can go wide. Maybe you send the hips back. Hands can walk forward. You can always make fists, let your forehead rest there. And know that the hips may not touch the heels, that's okay. You can let them hover. Maybe take a blanket, a bolster, a pillow, and place it underneath you, finding some support. But child's pose, very grounding posture. So know that you can always come back here at any point throughout class to reset, to bring you back to your intention, or maybe just to help you reconnect with the breath. Take an inhale. If needed, let any thoughts, any judgments, expectations go as you exhale. Good, awesome work. Now feel free to stay there or coming back up and we'll meet in tabletop position. So if you have blocks, maybe a great place to use them, you could place them at the highest height. We're going to come into a lizard lunge position. So you could be here, you could have them at the, the medium height. If you don't have blocks, I'll kind of show you how to do this, but we're going to step our right foot forward to the outside of the right hand. So the blocks just make your arms longer, give you more space. If you don't have the blocks, you're going to have to lift the right hand. So just kind of lifting the hand and, sliding, walking your right foot forward. So lizard lunge, blocks are great here. So you're going to be on the inside of your right foot. The right knee is behind your toes. We're just going to say hi to the hips a little bit. So from here, kind of think of like cat-cow. As you inhale, gently come forward, maybe lifting the heart. And then as you exhale, half splits, just gently straightening through the right leg, send the hips back. So just kind of hinging, rocking forward and back, exploring the right hip, the right hamstring. Try to keep the shoulders soft away from the ears. And know the movements do not have to be big. Maybe it's just a slight rock forward and back. No judgment. And then last one. We're going to meet in half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. So gently send the hips back, straightening through the right leg as much as needed. Now the hips are going to stay on top of the back knee. So try not to send the hips too far back. You can always slide your right heel forward and then keep a bend in the right knee and flex your right toes towards the face. Shoulders soft away from the ears. And then without moving the right leg, think of energetically reaching your right hip back. So you're squaring your hips to the front. Right hip reaches back, left hip reaches forward. Shoulders soft away from the ears. And then your choice, you could stay here or take an inhale. Or as you exhale, maybe you fold, maybe bending the elbows. Crown of the head is reaching forward, right hip, reach it back. Last inhale. Soften with the exhale. Good. Now back to your lizard lunge. So bend the right leg, plant your right foot to the ground. Maybe blocks go off to the side. Tuck your left toes, lift the knee. So this is lizard lunge. You can use that space in the right hip to maybe step or slide your right foot back into downward dog. Shake the head yes, shake it no. Now coming back forward into your high plank, shoulders come over the wrists. Maybe right away you lower down to the knees. But think about pulling your hands and your knees together, finding that strong imprint position. Take a breath, big inhale, lowering back down to the ground as you exhale. All right, so doing our Pilates work here on the belly in a yoga flow. So cobra pose, feet are planted, knees lift, inner thighs squeeze in, outer hips roll down. And then as you inhale, cobra, Bhujangasana, shoulder blades down the spine. Think about pressing your pubic bone down. And then exhale, lower. Good, maybe two more. Inhale, cobra, Bhujangasana, squeeze your inner thighs in. Exhale, lower. Good, option for one more. Take rest if needed. Inhale, cobra, little lift, shoulder blades down the spine. Exhale, lower. Good, tuck your toes under. A lot of strength here, starting to press up, finding your kneeling plank. And then option for downward dog, hips high. A lot of shoulder work. Take a breath here. Shake the head yes, shake it no. Good, last inhale. And then child's pose, beautiful work. Big toes to touch, knees can go wide, send the hips back. Grounding back down, taking time to slow the breath down. And then your choice, you can stay here or let's stretch out the side bodies. So option to walk your hands to the left. Think about reaching through the right fingertips, keeping your right hip reaching back, right fingertips reaching forward. Breathing into the right ribs, into the armpits. Maybe the right ear rests on the right arm. Slowing the breath down, deep inhale. Hold, try to soften with the exhale. Good, then take your time, come back through center, and then you're gonna walk your hands over to the right, kind of reaching up and over with the left fingertips, but gently drawing the left hip back, trying to pull the body in opposite directions at the ribs. Maybe the left ear or the forehead rests on the left arm. One more breath, big inhale, holding there, softening into the left side as you exhale. Good, and then slowly come back to center. Beautiful work, child's pose, Balasana, final round of breath here. And then we'll meet back in tabletop position, coming onto all fours. So same thing, other side. Great time to use your blocks, kind of using them to make your arms longer, to make it easier to bring your left foot forward. So from here, you're gonna step your left foot to the outside of your left hand. So left knee is behind your toes, blocks are to the inside of your left foot. Now, you can always adjust the blocks or keep your hands on the mat, but then explore some movements here. So as you inhale, maybe just gently lift the heart, and then as you exhale, rock the hips back. So just kind of rocking or hinging forward and back. This is really great for hip mobility. We need to be able to hinge our hips back. So give yourself some grace as you explore. Know the movements don't have to be too big. Right, being very aware and finding a spot that feels good for you. Try to relax the shoulders, the face, the jaw. Good. Now coming into half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana. So remember, try not to send the hips too far back. You want to keep them on top of the knee. So if needed, maybe you slide your left heel forward. And then keep a bend in the knee, right? Especially if you don't have blocks and you feel like it's hard to come down to the ground, keep a bend in the left leg so the hands can be supported on the ground or on your blocks or on the chair. Now think of squaring your hips to the front. So it's kind of like scissoring your legs. Maybe think about pulling the legs towards one another. The left hip reaches back, right hip reaches forward. And I personally like to flex my left toes. It kind of helps me find a little more space in the back of the left leg. Crown of the head reaches forward, shoulders soften back, big inhale. Maybe you fold as you exhale. Be kind to the left hamstring, the back of the thigh. Good. And then take your time, slowly coming back forward, lizard lunge. So you're going to plant your left foot. Maybe blocks go to the top, tuck your right toes, lift the knee. And then option to step back into downward dog. So maybe step or slide your left foot back. And shake it out. Awesome job. Big inhale. Slow exhale. Good. Now coming back to the top. Lift your heels, gaze forward, and then bend your knees. Step, walk, top of the mat. If needed, lift your hands and walk yourself to the top. Halfway lift, maybe use your blocks or your chair. Think of a neutral spine, front ribs in. And then exhale, gently fold. Keep a bend in the knees, strong core. Inhale, rise, extended Tadasana. And then exhale, hands to heart. Samasthiti, standing at attention. Reset here. Soften with the exhale. Whew. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of yoga Pilates together, work the legs a little bit more, and then we'll start to slow it down. So if you have a block or a Pilates ball or one of those rings, you're more than welcome to use it. A block may be your best bet. If you don't have a block, you can still do this, but I want you to think about engaging your adductor muscles, your inner thighs. So chair pose, Utkatasana. So you have a block, you could place it between the thighs. And think about squeezing the block, and then you're going to find chair pose. You're going to bend the knees and sit the hips back. So it's like you're sitting in an imaginary chair, right? So the legs are going to be working. So if you have that block, think about squeezing the block, like we've done in like a bridge pose. And then keep your front ribs pulling in. So try not to flare your front ribs forward and arch the low back. See if you can draw the front ribs in. Hands can stay at the heart. Give the shoulders a break here, but squeeze that block. Knees are behind the toes. Good. Chair pose. It's also called fierce pose. Very fiery, a lot of heat here. So take your time, or maybe come back to the breath. Big inhale. Maybe you sit a little lower as you exhale. Good. Awesome work. Last inhale, breath. And then as you exhale, grab the block if you have it, release it, and come into forward fold, shake it out. We bend one leg, then the other. Beautiful job. Good. Now go ahead, come to a seat. So just bend the legs, come all the way down to the ground. And we're going to do some yoga Pilates, some core work. So once again, if you have a ball, a block, a Pilates ring, maybe place it in between the thighs. Very similar from chair pose, but now we're seated. Boat pose, Navasana. So squeeze that block if you have it, and then hands can come behind the thighs, right? The heels are going to stay grounded today. I like to flex. You can also point the toes. My feet cramp up doing that. So find a position that feels good. Now think about kind of creating a J position here from the crown of the head to the pelvis. Okay, so you're more of like a J curve here. Block is squeezing, or inner thighs are drawing in. So if you don't have the block, I don't want you to draw the knees in, kind of keep the legs hip width, but think about squeezing the inner thighs inward like there was a block there, right? Now, half roll back. You're more than welcome to stay here. So we're going from a J position into more of a C curve, okay? The spine's going to stay rounded in flexion the whole time. So core is working, spine supported, okay? So when you're ready, find your J, lift the heart, front ribs in, big inhale. And then as you exhale, kind of slowly roll back into your C position. Inhale, lift back up, feel the pelvis move with you. Exhale, slowly roll it down, squeeze that block. Inhale, lift. Exhale, half roll back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, half roll back. Good. Inhale, lift, maybe 2 more. Exhale, half roll back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, last one. Inhale, lift. Beautiful work. Exhale, release. Something between the thighs, place it off to the side. And then Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. Think of butterfly, soles of the feet together. Knees can go wide. Maybe you kind of grab for the feet and kind of flap your wings. Maybe kind of sway a little bit or fold forward. Start to breathe into the inner thighs. Relax the shoulders. Awesome work. Slow the breath down. Good. Deep inhale. Maybe soften a little bit more as you exhale. Good. And then take your time. Slowly come on up. Beautiful work. All right. Now, one more round. You can stick with the half roll back, or we're going to tap into the obliques. Okay. So same position. If you have a block or something, you can place it back in between the thighs. Okay. And there's kind of like 2 ways to do this, kind of like a half roll back with obliques in the twist, or maybe just focus on twisting, which is still going to work the obliques. But know if you do kind of roll back as you open up, it's going to be harder on the core. So if you feel pressure in the low back, just don't go down as far. Okay, so maybe you're here, or maybe you roll back and open up to the side. Okay, just be very cautious, very aware of your low back, and no judgment, right? You're trying to work the core muscles, strengthen them to protect the low back. All right, so if you have something between the thighs, make sure to squeeze it. And then this time, arms are going to come out to the side, front ribs in. Take a breath, inhale. As you exhale, open up to the right, or actually doesn't matter, any side. Inhale back to center, lifting up. Exhale, open up to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the right. Good. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. So feel the pelvis move with you. Last 4, so strong. Last 3. Inhale, center. Last 2. Inhale, center. Good work. Last 1. Inhale, center. Take a breath and then release. Awesome work. Block off to the side. Soles of the feet together. Baddha Konasana. Reset here. Maybe gently fold. Open and close the mouth. Relax the shoulders. Good. Take an inhale. Slow and steady exhale. Good. And then wherever you're at, slowly coming up, and we're going to meet in either tabletop or down dog. So if you want to explore, you can just shift your weight to one side and kick your legs to the other, or you could cross the ankles, press the outer edges of your feet into the mat, kind of rock forward, plant the palms, lift the hips, step, walk your feet back. We'll meet in Adho Mukha, down dog, or tabletop. Now, if you do have blocks and you want to use them in down dog, kind of explore what it feels like to have longer arms, a little more space, you could take those blocks and place them underneath the hands, about shoulder width distance. And you're going to grip your hands, your fingertips into the ground and lift up. Okay. So we're gonna come into that low lunge position from downward dog. So it's gonna be a little harder, so don't be too hard on yourself here if this transition is a little funky. But from down dog, option to lift your right leg, three-legged dog. Now lift your left heel, find more space, big inhale. Pull your right knee to your nose, gaze forward, and step your right foot through. If needed, lift your right hand and kind of slide or pull your right foot forward. So now the right foot is on the inside of the right hand, a low lunge position. Okay, check out the feet, make sure they're hip width position. Now your left knee can be lifted, more active, or your left knee can be on the ground, a little more supported. One's not better than the other, find the one that feels best for you. Now we're gonna take a grounded twist. So right hand is gonna come to your right hip crease. Use that right hand to gently draw your right hip back. So keep the lunge in the right knee, but reach your right hip straight back. And then take an inhale, maybe kind of lift up out of the left hand, and then exhale, twist to the right. So you're gonna gently turn your ribs to the right side. Not easy, so my left hand is on a block, right? Kind of using that block to create a little more space, so I can gently turn my chest to the right. You can always widen the stance, maybe walk your right foot more to the right side. But breathe maybe into the outer right hip, find some rotation in the T-spine, your mid-spine. Good. One more big inhale. And then as you exhale, release, right hand will come to the ground, and then you're gonna find a wide-legged forward fold. So you're gonna turn to the left, right toes will turn in. So toes in, heels out. You can widen the stance, or lengthen the stance or shorten the stance as much as needed. But feel free to maybe kind of sway a little bit, maybe find side lunges, bend the right knee, bend the left, go side to side. Maybe shake the head yes, shake it no. Once again, a lot of work for those inner thighs, so find some space there, but making sure you're not locking out the legs, a little bend in the knees, gently shift the weight forward, take a breath, soften as you exhale. Good. Now we're gonna come up, so hands will come underneath the shoulders, think of like a halfway lift, front ribs pull in, so strong core, all right? Now from here, place the hands on the hips, and use your core muscles to rise up to standing. So this could be 5-point star, bursting open, taking up space. Big inhale. Now we're gonna take warrior 2 to the top. So your right toes are gonna point to the top, bending into the right knee, and if needed, adjust the back foot, but my back heel is grounded, okay? So right foot points forward, left toes are pointing to the left side. Now, if you need to shorten the stance, lengthen the stance, feel free to do so, but making sure not to lock the back knee, then pull your feet in towards one another, feel your inner thighs working. Now we're working the shoulders again, so they can be parallel to the mat, they could come to your heart, they could even reach behind you, grabbing for opposite elbows, so maybe rotate your shoulders internally, but find a spot that feels good. So we're really working those legs in a lunge position, pulling the feet in, finding a little lift from the right inner thigh. Good, take a breath. Stay for the exhale. Good, then lastly, reverse warrior. Flip your right palm. As you inhale, reach it up and back. Left hand can go down the back thigh. Keep the lunge in your right knee, so if needed, reach your right shin forward. Breathing into your right ribs. Gaze can be to the back foot or maybe up to the ceiling, whatever feels best on the neck. Front ribs in, strong core. Good, last inhale. And then as you exhale, you're gonna circle back down to your low lunge. So pivot your left toes forward. Now we're gonna come into down dog. You've done this transition, maybe you step it back, or you can walk your right foot wide, find a little more space, and then step back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha. We got one more side. Beautiful work. Take an inhale, maybe an open mouth exhale. Good. All right. Same thing other side. We're going to step the left foot through. Take your time here. Maybe start to lift the left leg, three-legged dog. Lift the right heel, finding space, and then pull your left knee to your nose. Think of a cat back. Gaze forward, step, maybe lift the left hand, slide or pull your left foot forward, low lunge position. My left knee is on top of the ankle, feet are about hip width distance. Okay, now we're gonna hold here and find our twist. So maybe right hand stays on a block, or left hand can come to your left hip crease. Kind of use that left hand to draw the left hip back. So keeping the lunge. I know my legs are shaking right now because I'm holding this position. And then take a breath, inhale, maybe kind of lift up out of the right hand. And then as you exhale, turn your ribs to the left, grounded twist. So my low back is lengthened, supported. Front ribs are pulling in. My hips are squared to the front, so think about pulling your feet towards center as I turn my ribs left. Rounded twist position, awesome work. Last inhale, and then as you exhale, release, left hand to the ground, and then you're gonna pivot to the right, one more time, wide-legged forward fold. Toes in, heels out, and then last time you're here, so maybe kind of dance a little bit, sway side to side, finding some side lunges. Maybe let gravity do the work and fold you in half, but keep a bend in the knees. If you want to stretch out the shoulders, maybe a chest expansion grip, interlace the fingers. If it's hard to interlace the fingers, no worries. Maybe you grab your strap. It'll take about 2-3 more rounds of breath here, whatever you need. Maybe shake the head, yes, shake it, no. And then once you're done, slowly release any grip. And then hands will come underneath the shoulders. Think of your halfway lift. Pull the front ribs in. Now, using that core, hands can come to the hips, maybe a little bend in the knees, slowly rise up to standing. 5-point star, big inhale, take up space here. And then warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2 to the top. Left toes will pivot forward, start to bend into the left knee. So very powerful warrior position, right? Everything is working, very strong, kind of intimidating as well. So keep your legs pulling in, feel your inner thighs work. And we're working that rotation of the left hip, okay? So the knee may be pulling in a little bit, but can you actively press your knee kind of towards the pinky edge of your left foot? So working on rotating the hip. So not here, but just gently trying to draw your knee to the wall behind you. You don't have to force it, but trying to create some space in the inner thigh as we work the glute. Very similar to open clamshell that we did on the ground. Now the arms are working, shoulders over the hips. I like to face the palms face up to kind of relax. Or maybe once again, you grab for opposite elbows behind you or hands to heart. But feel those inner thighs working. Then take a breath, big inhale. Soften as you exhale. And then inhale, reverse warrior. Left palm can flip. Gently reach the left arm up and back. Maybe your right hand goes down the thigh. Keep your left shin reaching forward to keep the lunge. So try not to lift up. Think about lifting from the left hip. Breathe into the ribs. Core is engaged, front ribs in, making sure you're not flaring. Gaze up or down. Okay, last inhale. And then as you exhale, circle down, low lunge. Right toes pivot forward, and then one more time we'll meet in down dog. Maybe step your left foot back or walk your left foot wide to find space. And then last downward facing dog, Adho Mukha. Huddle it out, shake the head yes, shake it no. Whew. Big inhale. And then child's pose, Balasana, big toes to touch. If the heart rate is up, don't be afraid to take a seat. But wherever you're at, try to slow the breath down, coming down out of a lot of stress work, a lot of sympathetic activity. So see if you can slow the exhale down to start to down regulate the nervous system. But then also take some time here to find gratitude, right? A lot of hard work, maybe a lot of new movement patterns, a lot of things that might have challenged you, but you're still here. Still breathing. So as you inhale, fill up with gratitude, kindness, thanking your body for all the amazing things it just did. And then open mouth, exhale, share it off. One more deep inhale. Slow exhale. Woo, awesome job. All right, gently coming up. If you have a block, feel free to grab it and then make your way onto your back. So block can go off to the side, just make sure it's accessible. But once you're on your back, you can draw the knees to the chest, gently rock side to side, maybe take some circles with the knees. And then last little bit of work, we'll come into our bridge. So we're gonna do 2 rounds. The first round will just kind of hold bridge, and then the second round, maybe adding the march, okay? So for bridge position, set to Bandhasana. Make sure the legs are bent, feet are flat on the ground. Once again, if you have that block or a Pilates ring, you can place it between the thighs, and then arms can rest off at the side. Okay, start to squeeze the block if you have it. And then when you're ready, you draw the heels down, roll your glutes, low back and mid back off the ground. So holding here, thinking of engaging the whole back side of your body, your thighs, your glutes, your back muscles, even into the upper back. So maybe think about reaching your armpits towards the ground. And then make sure to breathe. See the belly rise and fall in the background. Gaze can be straight up to the ceiling, chin is slightly off the chest, keeping the back of the neck long. Make sure to breathe. Last inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly roll yourself down. If you have the block, you can release it. Reset here, maybe kind of sway the knees. Whew. All right, now last round, you can stick with regular bridge like we just did, or option to march. So lifting one leg. And you want to think about keeping your pelvis stable, okay, which is not easy to do. So explore it, adjust. We'll keep playing with it throughout the whole term. All right. So when you're ready, heels draw down and then start to slowly roll yourself up into bridge pose. Now think about your armpits reaching down to maybe help stabilize you a little bit more. Fingertips can point to the ceiling and the elbows can draw down. Now maybe you stay here, or as you inhale, march the right leg. So kind of lifting the leg to a bent position, and then exhale back to bridge. Other side, inhale, march the left, back to bridge, hold here, squeeze your glutes, big inhale, and then exhale, roll it down. So we'll do 3 more. Feel free to do as many as you want though, or as less as you want. All right, here we go. Slowly roll up, bridge position. And then from here, lift the right leg, march, back to bridge. Option to lift the left, try to keep your pelvis stable. Back to bridge, hold, squeeze, take an inhale, exhale, bring it down. Good, awesome work. When you're ready, heels draw down, slowly inhale, lift, coming into bridge, squeeze the glutes. And then lifting the right leg, march, back to bridge, the left, bridge position, squeeze your glutes, big inhale, exhale, lower down. Good, maybe one more, take rest if needed. Here we go. Bridge position, lifting up. Option, lift the right leg. Back to bridge. Slowly lift the left. Back to bridge. Squeeze, take an inhale. Exhale, lower. Good, awesome job. Maybe sway the knee side to side. Open and close the mouth. Whew, all done. Beautiful work. All right, coming into our hip stretch, figure 4. So left foot can stay on the ground. Cross the edge of your right foot, top of the thigh. You can flex the toes towards the shin. And then your choice, stay here. Maybe you lift your left foot. Maybe you place your left foot on the wall or a block. Or you can always take your right hand, bring it between the legs, and interlace the fingers behind the left thigh. But I want you to find a spot where you can breathe into the right hip, the right glutes. Try to keep the shoulders soft. All the hard work is done, so see if you can really slow things down, maybe start to close the eyes. And I like to sway a little bit. And then as we slow things down, can you keep the mind here, fully present, aware with the breath? And at any point, if the mind wanders off, just make note of it and be kind to bring yourself right back. Okay, one more big inhale. Maybe soften with the exhale. Good, and then option to take this into the twist. So figure four with the twist. Left foot will stay on the ground, and then you can let the legs fall to the left side. So now the sole of your right foot can come to the ground. Maybe left hand kind of grabs for the ankle or the shin. And once again, kind of lift the left shoulder, make room for the right. But you kind of hold on to the right leg as you draw the knee away. So this is going to intensify the stretch in the outer hip and maybe help lengthen through the right side. Gaze can be up or maybe chin falls to the right. And as best you can, try not to flare the front ribs to the ceiling. So maybe you need to gently draw the front ribs in so you're not compressing into the low back. One more breath. Soften with the exhale. Good, then take your time. You can slowly unwind. And we'll do figure four on the other side. So right foot to the ground, cross the edge of your left foot, top of the thigh. Left toes are flexed towards the shin. Left knee gently draws away. So see how this feels on this side. I say this all the time, but my left hip is very cranky. I have a lot of tightness on my left side. So maybe you find a position that feels best on this side. It might be a little more open, a little tighter. Just being aware of it and honoring what this side needs. You can always place your right foot on the wall or on a block. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed, open and close the mouth. Maybe you wiggle a little bit, but trying to be fully aware of any sensations happening. And as always, using the awareness to help you adjust or to maybe help you let go. Good, take a breath. Soften with the exhale. Good, and then take your time, slowly release, and we'll come into the twist. So right foot can start on the ground, and then you're gonna let your legs fall to the right. Left foot will be grounded. And like I said, this side's gonna feel different for me, at least. A lot tighter on this side, so a lot more intense. But right hand can grab for the left ankle or the shin, kind of hold on to it as you gently draw the left knee away. Front ribs still pulling in, maybe adjust the right shoulder blade underneath you. Gaze can be up or chin can fall to the left side. Breathe into the left hip, find some space in the left side. And as always, you can always find a different twist if this supine twist doesn't feel right this morning. One more breath. Soften as you exhale. Woo. And then take your time, slowly unwind. And then you can draw the knees to the chest, maybe kind of rock side to side. If you want to explore happy baby, you can stamp your feet onto the ceiling and grab for the back of the thighs and gently draw your knees kind of towards the outer edges of your mat. Think about pressing your tailbone down and gently lifting the heels. Maybe one day you kind of grab for the back of the feet, but if you start to lift the hips, keep your low back grounded, keep your tailbone pressing down, just find a little lift from the heels. This is great for hip mobility. This is why babies do happy babies, to build that mobility within the hips, to be kind to yourself. And then you're more than welcome to stay here, or you can start to close out your practice however it feels best. So today, option for maybe a final inversion. You can think of legs up the wall, maybe move to the wall and place your legs on the wall, or maybe find imaginary legs up the wall. Just make sure the low back is grounded. You can always grab for behind the knees to support the legs here. And then you can kind of roll the ankles, maybe point, spread the toes, kind of shake the legs out. All right, this is kind of like being upside down, kind of reversing gravity, reversing the flow of blood, of fluids in the body. And then you're more than welcome to stay here. Or option to curl into a tiny little ball. Give yourself a big hug. Thank yourself for being here today. And then when you're ready, finding Shavasana, corpse pose. Just like we started class, find a nice relaxed position. Maybe take up space. If you have blocks, or you can always roll up a blanket, place it underneath the knees. Maybe place a blanket on top of you. Maybe place a pillow underneath the head. And then arms can be off to the side. Maybe draw the shoulder blades underneath you. Find a little more space between the shoulders and the ears. And then option to close the eyes. You're also welcome to find a focal point, maybe on the ceiling, if you prefer the eyes to be open. And then take your time, start to scan the body from the toes all the way up to the crown of the head. Try to relax the toes, the feet. Soften the ankles. Relax the legs. Soften your glutes, your low back, your belly. Allow the arms, the shoulders to be heavy. Soften down into the palms, the fingertips. And then relax the face. Maybe soften the space between the eyebrows. Relax the jaw. Maybe explore removing the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Feel the ground underneath you, supporting you, encouraging the body to relax, to soften. And an option to connect with the breath or take time to listen. Shavasana, corpse pose, is one of the most important postures within the practice of yoga, where we take time to just be. How often in our day do we take time to just be with the breath and to fully relax the body and the mind? So feel free to be here, being exactly you for the next few moments. Maybe just hanging out with the breath. Taking time for some well-deserved stillness. If the mind has wandered off, if the body is starting to tense back up, be aware and see if you can adjust. Allow the body to be heavy. Allow the mind to come back here to the breath. And then you're more than welcome to stay here. If you have extra time, please hang out and rest for as long as needed. When you are ready, slowly start to deepen your breath. And then start to reawaken. Wiggle the fingers, the toes. Maybe roll the ankles, the wrists. Maybe a nice full body stretch, reach the arms overhead. And then option to draw the knees to your chest. And then you can rock to your favorite side for fetal pose, using the bottom arm as a pillow, hanging out here or gently pressing up to a seat, Sukhasana, meditation seat. Just closing out the practice, maybe cross the ankles, sit on the shins. Eyes can be open or closed. Hands can rest in the thighs. Your hands can come to heart center. Maybe bowing the head to the heart, acknowledging your time spent here. And then lastly, always an option to take your intention or anything you cultivated here on your mat with you off your mat. Maybe being a little more aware throughout the rest of your day, throughout the rest of your week, being aware of the things that we do and seeing if they are harmful or seeing if they bring us joy. And if they are harmful, know that we can change the thought patterns, change the movement patterns, and maybe cultivate a little more joy within our own actions. And then we'll seal our practice with the final round of breath. When you're ready, take a deep inhale in through the nose, biggest breath yet. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. And I thank each and every one of you for being here. I thank the beautiful practice of yoga and Pilates. And from my heart to yours, with so much gratitude, I bow.